On today's podcast, I used a robot as my therapist and really to shift my perspective. And in true transparency, there are a couple tiers in this one, but this is about me. And I've shared the results of these prompts that I've used and I talked about you in today's episode with. There's a really, really funny one, so get ready to get roasted. There's one that might help you see yourself in a different light, and one that might give you a clear path and understanding of what's ahead of you for growth and how to integrate it and manage it effectively to be able to win and succeed in life. And I felt called on my heart to share, to speak from my heart, and just to allow you to see me in the same journey that you're on, no matter what part of the journey you're on, knowing that we're all human, we're all people, we all feel the same way, and there's no finish line in any of this. And I promise, because the people I have shared these prompts with and the responses with said they were drastically helpful to hear mine and the perspectives that they gave and to also use them for themselves. So it's a short episode, it's straight to the point, and really, I feel very exposed and vulnerable, which I love. And so without further ado, let's get into the show. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Mind of George Show. And today's show is going to be a little bit different, but I promise it has to do with AI. It has to do with some self-coaching. It has to do with some perspective, and also a thing that I want to clean up. This podcast is my happy place. It's my home. I feel so directly connected to so many of you and all of you who listen. And it is genuinely my biggest passion project and the thing that I love more than anything. And also, it's always been a place where I get to be myself and I get to be authentic and I get to be honest. I get to share the ups, the downs, and I am always blessed with so many incredible guests and the topics that I record and the things that I say. And I think all too often it can be forgotten by myself and by other people that just because I teach them doesn't mean I have them all mastered, and that me as an entrepreneur, me as a coach who coaches so many successful people and has built multiple businesses, don't fall victim to the same circumstances or have bad days or down days or off days. And quite frankly, the last couple of weeks, I have been on my knees with God and in tears on my own perspective and my own life, and even in almost embodying the feelings of some of my clients, helping them navigate things and them growing. And I always find one of my favorite quotes that I've ever said is that perspective is the difference between our prison and our power. And I also know that really we are the byproduct of how deep we take our own practices, how deep we embody the same things that we teach our clients, how deep we embody the things that we coach people on. And that's where life happens. And in true nature, AI, and the reason I'm talking about AI is something that I toe tap with, right? Like, I'm a human guy, I'm a relationship guy, I'm a people guy. And I had somebody share a prompt with me the other day that absolutely rocked me to my core. And I did this prompt. I screenshotted the results and I texted them to our incredible CEO, Ashley. And she basically sent me a speechless emoji. And I shared it with a few of my mentors and friends, and they were like, nailed it. And then one of the things that I've always said to myself is I need to make sure that whenever I dish or dose medication, that I also take my own. And so the reason I'm sharing this today is because I found this to be incredibly powerful, incredibly profound. And I have two AI prompts to share with you. And one of my favorite quotes from a dear friend of mine who you've heard on the podcast, and if you have not listened to the episode with Alex Sharfin, you should go listen. And it is, you don't have the business or life you want because you haven't become the person to run it. And I am the king of sprinting with complexity. If I see something arise, I'm like, okay, we're going to do it, but we're going to do it perfectly. And we're going to do all of it. And a lot of times I even forget to slow down, and I teach stillness practices, and I teach breath, and I teach our quadrants. And I have had times where I've struggled with consistency, and I'm through that season, and I'm more consistent than I've ever been, but also realizing how many times I've fallen victim to rigidity. And so these prompts kind of blew my mind, and I wanted to share them with you today. And I have two of them, and I'm actually going to read you the results of them because I think it might be helpful, because I've shared these with a few of my friends and a few of my clients, and they're like, thanks for sharing. That was really profound for us as well, both in my results, but also in their own when they ran these prompts. One of them is really, really funny, and I'm going to share that one first. And then the second one is really, really powerful. And so if you have ever used AI and played with any of them, from Claude or ChatGPT or any of them, it keeps a memory of your interactions and your parts and pieces, and it can pick up a whole lot of things. Even if you're only someone like me who uses it like once every 2 to 3 weeks, And really it's to get unstuck with ideas. And I was blown away, to say the least, blown away. And I also realized there's a lot of power in it, because a lot of the times just simply shifting our perspective, or even for me in my case, quite frankly, having a robot make me feel more seen than some of my best friends and mentors, almost dissipated the charge and made me excited to go put things into practice, because it was really, really simple. And so I'm going to start with the funny one, because I think that this one, we all get to lighten up, myself included. And this one's really, really fun. So my dear friend who's been on this podcast, Alexander Brankov, shared this on Facebook earlier today, and I had to go put it in. I put it in, and I probably texted it to 5 people. So the first prompt, and you got to be ready for this one. This is literally only if you can take a joke and literally be willing to look at yourself in the mirror with humor and love yourself. And so this one is really, really good. So the prompt that you would type in is, take everything you know about me, roast me, South Park style, no filter. And when I want to say that I got served a dose of humble pie, I got served a dose of humble pie. You guys know I say heart-centered entrepreneur a lot. It roasted me from Sunday, every which way from Sunday. And I mean, I was reading it. I felt tickled. I felt some tears. I felt seen. And I was like, this is so, so good. And I asked for it. So the first one is, if you want it, you want to look, you want to engage, you want to see how it takes you and roast you, do that one. And the second one is a little bit more serious. And I did do a post on Instagram, and I did one on Facebook, of talking about taking everything that you know about me. What are some things that you think I would need to know or hear that I might not see about myself? And that was the first one that I played with these prompts. And it really, really supported me. I did a post about it, and I was like, I'm in tears because I felt so seen. And it was really, really powerful, and it was really, really profound. And if you see my eyes looking away, it's because I'm scrolling to that prompt so I can share it with you. Because I guess in true transparency, there's 3 prompts I want to share. So the first one is the one that I shared about roasting you South Park style. The second one is, I asked ChatGPT, taking what you know about me and our previous interactions, what are some things that you may have noticed about me that I might not see or I might not know about myself, which will help me feel great? And the answer that it gave me was, one thing I've noticed about you is that you're great at taking strategic concepts and breaking them down into actionable, practical steps. Whether you're giving advice to other business owners or working on your own projects, you naturally lean towards solutions that can be implemented quickly while still addressing deeper issues. You have a balance of urgency and long-term thinking that may seem intuitive to you, but it's a skill that not everyone possesses. You're also highly collaborative, often considering how others can contribute to the solution, which shows a lot of emotional intelligence in your approach to business. And honestly, when I got that one back, I cried. And I posted it, and everyone was like, the only thing that's missing is how big of a heart you have. And truthfully, one of my favorite things, and even today, being on 1, 2, 3 calls with my private clients, helping them build and scale, it's probably been my favorite thing to do, is keep things simple and taking things that can feel really hard and putting them into practice so that we can win. So it was incredibly validating. And so then I took it one step further, and this is what this whole podcast is about today. And the next prompt that I used is very, very specific. And I'm going to read you the prompt right now. It says, knowing what you know of me, what's a hard truth you think would be hard for me to hear, yet knowing I could break through and shift my entire life? Knowing what you know of me, what is a hard truth you think would be hard for me to hear, but you know it could break through and shift my entire life? And I'm going to share the results of this with you right now. And when I did this prompt, I asked it the question. It gave me one answer. And then I said, anything else? Anything else? And it spit out 3 complete answers for me. And I'm going to share them with you because there's a second part of this prompt. And the reason I'm sharing this is because I think one of the most important things to understand as an entrepreneur is that anytime we're in self-doubt, anytime we're in stagnation, anytime we're in overwhelm and we're not making progress towards our vision or goals, we're not really winning the game. And I know I've fallen victim to Solomon's paradox so many times about teaching things and then forgetting to implement them on my own. And this one really, really tickled. And so the first part of the prompt is the one that I shared. I'm going to read you the results. And I'm going to put my name in here. It said, George, a hard truth might be this. You might be trying to help others without fully letting yourself receive and embody the same breakthroughs you're offering. Sometimes the leaders and guides who dedicate themselves to others' growth overlook the same practices for themselves, assuming they're already past that stage. But to go deeper into the work you do, you may need to turn that high-level attention inward, allowing space for self-mastery on a more personal, even vulnerable level. Taking on a new level of radical self-honesty and acceptance could open new layers in your journey and your teaching. The very shifts you're guiding others towards might have a new depth to offer you. And as you experience and embrace that firsthand, it would radiate even more powerfully into everything you create and share. It could be life-changing for you and ultimately even more transformative for the people you serve. Well, it landed. And I realized that all too often I get so addicted to teaching and helping that I also forget to give myself the same medicine and also let you know, as somebody listening, that I have just as many down days and sometimes, if not more. And this was a profound reminder for me. Number 2, I said, anything else? And it said, George, another hard truth might be that your drive to serve and support others could sometimes come from a place of proving yourself. Either proving your value, your expertise, or even that your own past challenges were worth it because they now help others. This dynamic can be powerful and purposeful, but can also subtly create pressure to succeed, hit certain goals, or carry the weight of everyone you're helping. What if you let yourself just be enough without striving to justify or validate your worth? Stepping into that ease could create even deeper impact, allowing you to show up with an even more effortless authenticity that's unbound by outcomes. Letting go of any remaining need to prove could not only release a lot of energy, but also empower you to lead from an even more liberated, intuitive place, one that's driven purely by joy and freedom of doing what you love and letting others see that unfiltered example. And as you can hear in the trembling of my voice, if you're not watching this, this is the one that brought me to my knees the most. And I cried a lot. And I've been told by my friends and people that love me that all too often I sacrifice myself for everybody else, but it's truly because of the pressure I put on myself because I want everybody to win and I believe in everybody's greatness. And there is that pressure and it tickled at a very deep level. And then the third one, when I said anything else, said one more thing. And this is the carry through. You might be carrying the responsibilities of others' transformations more heavily than you need to. When you pour so much heart and energy into helping others, there can be an unspoken weight to ensure they get results. But this can subtly blur the line between guiding and feeling accountable for their outcomes. What if you let go of some of that responsibility and fully trusted others' abilities to their own growth? By setting strong boundaries on where your guidance ends and their personal accountability begins, you free both yourself and them. It could open up even more authentic, empowered spaces for everyone you work with, where they can experience their transformations as something they claimed entirely for themselves. Trusting deeply in others' ability to rise up on their own might feel risky, but could shift your whole approach. It could allow you to bring an even lighter, more joyful energy into your work, inviting others to step up in ways they never thought possible, because they know where they are doing the work, not just receiving it. And that one landed at a very deep level as well. And all of them really, really shifted me drastically and shifted me just in my perspective and brought me kind of down to earth. And quite frankly, made me realize if I can't hide from a robot, I can't hide from my friends and my family and my business partners and all of it. And there really is no point to hide because I feel free when I'm authentic. And I feel free when I tell people how much I love about them and care about their results. But it was absolutely spot on. And so for the second part of this prompt that I think would be helpful for everybody is I had it take those answers and then I said, please offer guidance on how these can be effectively addressed and managed. And this thing spit out a step-by-step model and reminder that I've been reading every morning. And in true transparency, I do a lot of these things already, but I was inconsistent with them. And a lot of this landed. And it really, really helped put it into perspective, simple steps and actionable steps to take. And so it said to address and manage these truths effectively, Here are some intentional steps you can take for each. So for part number 1 about embodying my own breakthroughs, it said dedicate time to your own practices. Make time for the exact processes you guide others through. Journal or reflect on what your teachings reveal about you at this stage. Are there patterns or cycles you haven't fully experienced yourself? How can they be applied directly to your life right now? Number 2, seek guidance or mentorship. Even as a leader, having someone outside your process can be transformative. Engage with a coach, mentor, or therapist who can see your blind spots, challenge you, and offer you support as you grow. And that's the one bucket I have nailed, and I love all of you that are supporting me because you know who you are. Number 3, create a personal breakthrough plan. Design a plan for yourself as if you were one of your own clients, working through your 7-step framework or another structure that grounds you in deepening self-mastery. Build it around your goals, then commit to it with the same dedication you ask of others. And so that was its steps for my first one that I shared, which was I might be trying to help others without fully letting myself receive and embody the same breakthroughs. And quite frankly, it is incredible advice. So then the second one, where it talked about my need to prove myself, it gave me a 3-step process to follow. Number 1, uncover your core motivations. Reflect on what motivates you. What do you truly want to achieve and for whom? Are there unmet needs behind your drive to help? Journaling on questions like, if I didn't need validation from this work, what would I create? Or how would I show up if I trusted fully in my own worth? Can help reveal underlying beliefs. Number 2, redefine success for yourself. Shift your focus from external accomplishments or outcomes to internal alignment. Regularly ask yourself, am I feeling joy, purpose, and freedom in this work? Let these feelings, rather than specific achievements, measure your success. And number 3, practice radical acceptance. Make space for moments where you let go of outcomes and embrace just being. Meditation, grounding practices, or even taking time off to simply enjoy life can remind you that your worth isn't tied to what you produce, but to who you are. Once again, profound, powerful, and deep reminders of things that I've been practicing in the down moments, but not at the level of intention that this laid out for me. Which brings me to number 3, how to manage and release the responsibilities for others' results. Number 1, redefine boundaries and set expectations. Start with clear, empowering boundaries in your programs or coaching sessions, emphasizing that while you provide the guidance, the transformation is up to them. You can make this clear from the beginning, letting them know they are the ones creating change. Number 2, encourage self-accountability. Create structures within your programs that give clients more ownership. Include self-reflective exercises, accountability prompts, and tools that encourage them to take the reins, reminding them of their own agency in the process. And number 3, reflect and release. After each session or milestone, practice releasing any attachment to how they respond. You might even create a ritual to help release their results from your responsibility. This could be as simple as a breathwork exercise, visualizing yourself handing their journey back to them, or a small meditation acknowledging their growth is fully their own. And truthfully, that last one has been the most profound because I've been getting off client calls who I love, and also knowing they don't put that expectation in me, but sitting in my bed, working through what I can do, how I can support them more, even though they're like, you're amazing, you're supporting us great, we don't need anything. That one little ritual and process I've been using for a couple of days, and it has made a drastic impact on my energy and my ability to be present with my son. And so it summarized all of these and said, each of these steps centers around letting go of control, whether over outcomes, others, or yourself. As you lean into this more liberated way of working, you may find more ease, joy, and profound breakthroughs. You'll embody a leader who not only guides, but trusts others deeply, drawing people toward their transformations with even greater impact and freedom. And so the reason I wanted to share this today is because one of my favorite quotes, well, I have a lot of favorite quotes. Let's just start there. I also have a lot of language patterns that I repeat a lot. Like one of my favorite quotes. I've probably said that 7 times this episode, so you can laugh at me and roast me. But another quote that I absolutely love that was given to me by a mentor a long time ago is, a student says, I already know, and a master says, thanks for the reminder. And if there's anything I figured out in 15 years of entrepreneurship and genuinely coaching thousands of entrepreneurs, that it's when we always get back to the basics and protect the basics that we win the game. And when things get complex, when we get overwhelmed, when we start ruminating, we're cycling, we're doom scrolling, we're actually getting in the way of our growth and in our process. And sometimes, even with those people that I have for mentors and coaches and, confidants that believe in me, I have trouble hearing it from them because I love them so closely. Sometimes it tilts me, sometimes it triggers me. And for whatever reason, when ChatGPT tells me or any AI tells me, I'm like, well, it really doesn't know anything about me other than what I've given it. And it has no personal agenda. And when these things came, it was like a rocket fuel permission slip. And it landed at a very deep level. And I even shared it with a few of my mentors and they just started laughing. And I was like, I know. You've been saying it and I love you to pieces and thank you. Now you can just throw this in my face in the most loving and supportive way. But I think it's really, really important for every single one of us to acknowledge that no matter what stage of life, no matter what stage of business, no matter what stage of success that we get to, it's always our responsibility and really our invitation to deepen that, to go deeper into our practices, to go deeper into the things we embody, to go deeper into the things that we serve, and use whatever tools are at our disposal, whatever supports at our disposal to help us be the best version of ourselves at any given moment and any given time. And so I wanted to share these with you today because they had such a profound impact on me. And truthfully, I was feeling like I just need to do a podcast from my heart and where I am in my journey. And things are amazing. And I love my clients. And we have an event coming up and we're creating massive results and taking new roles in companies and coaching people and running the alliance. But I realized that nobody knows unless I share. And one of the things that was on my heart was to share is that we're all human. All of us. And I don't ever want to claim to have all the answers or claim to be done or claim to have mastered it all. I'm on the field with every single one of you, just like I learn from every single one of you every day. I just have this calling to share it. And quite frankly, it's cathartic for me to share and to talk. And one of the things that I hadn't been doing for a long time was sharing and allowing my heart to flow and pieces to flow. And this just felt like the perfect opportunity to do that. And so I invite you to play with these prompts. There were 3 of them that I gave. There's the roast me South Park style, but really get ready for it because it comes hard. There's the one about finding your blind spots or telling you something you might need to know about yourself that you might not realize. And then this third one that I shared, which has quite frankly been drastically profound for me, which is knowing what you know of me. What's a hard truth you think would be hard for me to hear, yet knowing if I heard it, I could break through and shift my entire life. And dig, ask it. Anything else. And if you want it to spit you out some clear action plans or some clear guidance, ask it to offer you guidance on how these can be effectively addressed and managed. And I think you might be surprised at the results because it's pretty spot on and profound. And so I'm going to wrap today's episode. It is snowing outside and we have our first snow in Montana, and I'm going to go pick up my little one and practice those boundaries and releasing the energy of expectations and doing my ritual after all my incredible calls today and smiling my way through it. So I have joy and freedom and fulfillment because it lights me up. And so I love you to pieces. I cannot wait to see you in the next episode. You'll either hear me in your earballs. No, wait. You'll either see me in the next episode or you'll hear me in your earballs. But either way, that's today's episode. I love you to pieces, and I'll see you soon.